JJ Perez, Inside Runner Sports. Greg Luca, San Antonio Express News. This is your UTSA football post-game wrap-up for the thrilling and dramatic win,
as you predicted,
over Middle Tennessee tonight. Goes down to the wire, Greg. Middle Tennessee with the chance to send the game into overtime.
2-point conversion play, yeah.
Yeah, and the Runners squeak out another one this year. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but here we are, 3-0.
Yeah, this is a good win. I mean, you open conference play with the win, you're 3-0, and you've got to be happy about that, especially you overcome an injury to your starting quarterback. Frank Harris goes down in the second quarter, and Josh Adkins comes in and throws for 233 yards, and I thought he played pretty well in spurts. There were some throws he missed, but there was a lot of really good throws that he made too. So you're 3-0, and I think even if Frank Harris ends up being out a little longer, we have no idea. Traylor still have an MRI on the knee over the weekend. Then they could still be in pretty good hands with Adkins. So it's a promising start. I mean, I don't know if anybody expected UTSA to win Conference USA this year or anything like that. Like, that's a little bit much.
Right.
And so I think just getting wins against teams that you can't even say you're supposed to be, right? The UTSA was one of the worst teams in FBS last year. So to get 3 wins to start the year is good against anybody.
So Frank Harris, like you mentioned, goes down in the second quarter. It looked like a knee injury when he was tackled.
Yeah, it was weird because he played the next snap.
He played the next snap. He came out. He went down after the next snap, and then he came to the sidelines and started walking to the tunnel, right?
So he had the 20-yard run.
Yeah.
The next play, he scrambles left and throws it out of bounds.
Yeah, and then
he's lined up for the next snap,
and then he just goes down. Yeah.
But he looked a little wobbly after the run.
Yes.
I don't know if the play where he threw it away is where he got hurt. I'd have to watch it back because I was looking down at my notes or something, and then suddenly he's down on the field, and I don't. Hopefully the cameras caught it when I watched the game again.
So Josh Adkins comes in. He leads the team down the field.
Yeah, he throws a great pass down the seam to Dingle.
Yeah,
to get them into field goal range, and I was like, well, this guy's got it. Because we haven't. This was just like last week in the sense where Frank Harris had a 24-yard pass on the first drive, and then the downfield game just wasn't there.
It just went away.
Although I guess he had the one touchdown to Zakari.
Yeah, 25 yards.
Yeah. But generally speaking, he's not going down the field that much, and when he does, it's questionable. Some good throws, some bad. Sometimes guys are open, sometimes they aren't. But for Josh Adkins to come in and have, I guess, probably the longest pass play of the day, at least to that point, right away, was really impressive, and I thought he made some good throws.
Yeah, I thought he played well, all things considered. Coach Traylor says he was taking air reps this week. Josh said he tries to steal some reps.
Yeah, I don't know how it works for them. I know through fall it seemed like everybody was getting a really good chance at it. And really we're not that far removed from fall.
Right.
So hopefully if he's been in a kind of a backseat kind of role, that he's still relatively fresh, that he hasn't been out of the rotation for all that long. And I'm sure he gets some kind of action during the week, but it's certainly not the same as getting the first team reps all week in practice.
UTSA's defense gave up a ton of yards today.
Can we talk about Zakari first? I feel like that's really important.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about Zakari. Just comes out his first game and just makes an immediate impact on the offense.
And we knew that he was probably the best receiving target that we had this year, just based on what he did last season as a freshman and how he came on through the year. But to see that he brought, I think when we talk about the downfield passing game element not being there, he sort of brings it back.
Yeah, he was missing.
And they got it to him on some shorter passes too. I think he ended with, I'll get the number for us. I think it was 119 yards and 6 catches. And so he had the 48-yarder that should have been a touchdown.
Right.
I mean, he was in the end zone.
Yeah.
I don't know why they called him down at the one. And then he had the pass from Frank. He had the one where he ran an out and up route, and there was a pass interference. I don't know if there was any other penalties that he was involved in, but he really made some things happen for the offense. And as much as Joshua Cephas has kind of emerged this year and been pretty productive at times and got in the end zone again today, I think Zakari is just a better and more productive player.
I think between the 3 guys of Cephas, Franklin, and even Dingle. Yeah, I mean, Dingle does some stuff in the run game too. So I think between those 3 guys, it's hard to defend the field.
And then don't forget, Sticks made a couple plays today. He's always an option for those short and intermediate quick routes and things like that. So they have a lot of weapons, really. You understand why Tariq Woolen moved over to defense.
Yeah.
And how about the one-handed interception?
Yeah, with the club.
He's got this big club on his right arm, and he comes up with an interception. It's incredible.
He just keeps getting better, I think, at that position. And I don't know how much of it is his technique or whatever. It's just his athletic ability and his size.
I try to pay attention every time the opposing team catches a pass, who was the nearest defender and who was in coverage, and it's not him.
It's never him.
Ever.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good in coverage.
We saw Mayfield maybe once or twice, but he played a pretty good game. And often it's the safeties. Like, either it'll be Savion or Parks was near a couple of them today, and maybe Rashad. Or it's like usually when they get beat deep, it's one of those guys rather than feeling like their corner got beat one-on-one. I know it was Xavier Spencer, who got beat for a touchdown.
I thought that was an offensive push-off.
Yeah, it probably was. But that was weird because Tariq wasn't on the field for that. Yeah. I don't know if maybe the injury, something was.
I just think they were rotating guys in and out. We saw a lot of 5 DBs. A bunch. So
I guess when you're up against a spread team like that, maybe you do have to get guys to snap here and there off.
And I think they were sticking on the defensive team here. I think they were searching for stuff because Middle Tennessee was putting up some yards tonight.
Yeah, it was really interesting in the first half how significantly UTSA shut down their run game.
Yeah.
It was some 16 carries for 28 yards or something like that. Some really minuscule number. And then right at in the second half they had that drive where they went 90-something yards and they had a 64-yard run and then a 28-yard touchdown run or something like that. And so it was really weird to see that turned around to the extent that it did. And I don't know if UTSA got tired up front because then there were a lot of times later in the game where it felt like they were still being really disruptive with their front seven and making a lot of plays in the back end. So it'd be hard to say what exactly led to that, but certainly Middle Tennessee was a lot more productive in the second half.
Let's talk about true freshman inside linebacker Jamal Liggett. Just a monster game. I knew he was having a good game, and I think I looked up midway through the fourth quarter and I was like, holy smokes, he has 14 tackles.
Yeah.
He ends up with 19, which breaks the school record.
Yeah, I remember,
he was just everywhere.
I remember a sack that he made. There was a couple plays in the backfield that he stood out on, but other than that, it was just like he was always around the ball in ways that it's weird to say that he's always around the ball, but it doesn't stand out. But it was just like it was just like play after play after play. It was very routine. To the point where it wasn't like, wow, what a big hit, or like, wow, I can't believe he made that play, but he was just consistently where he needed to be to get the stops.
Do we want to talk a little bit about some of the odd play calling we saw early on?
There was just two.
Two, yeah. The wide receiver pass.
Yeah, and then there was an end around. So it was, for the people watching, they threw it out like a lateral to Sticks,
and
he threw it downfield into coverage and got intercepted, and that was interesting because it's the first drive of the game, so it's not going to be or first or second. It's really early, so it's not going to be super consequential. Right. It felt like they had moved the ball pretty well up to that point, which is why it sort of stuck out as being weird. Like you didn't need to do that. And then that fourth down play, and you could probably just run something more standard. You could probably just go for a read option there on 4th and 4 if you want, where you can just pass it or whatever. But I don't know, they tried something. I don't think I wouldn't have called either of those two, but they know what they're doing, I think, and I wouldn't call it a huge red flag at this point.
I think we saw them shuffle the offensive line around a little bit today, and that's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a red flag, but it looks like they're kind of searching for the best combination.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that group was, last week they weren't outstanding, but I don't think that was like a problem. I think it was probably just a matter of Kevin Davis comes back, and then once you put him in, what does that do to everything else? Right. It's really funny that Spencer Burford was right tackle because they had a left-handed quarterback. Yeah. And in the game that he goes to left tackle, now they have a right-handed quarterback.
The irony is...
So he still gets to block the blind side. It turns out it didn't really change that much. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it could have something to do with how well maybe certain pairings of guys work together, potentially. Like if you wanted to put Kevin Davis next to Latest for some reason, that you thought that could be a good combo, then I guess you could do that. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to ask about it, but it was probably just that Kevin Davis came back and that triggered everything else.
So this will end the September schedule. UTSA jumps to October next month, and the opponents significantly, the challenge increases.
Yeah, it's good to be 3-0 heading into a tough stretch.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that UAB game next week on the road it's early. It's not good. I mean, UAB looked great last night. It's not going to be easy sledding from here on out.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is this could have been Memphis.
Right.
So you could have been, one step longer in that stretch of difficult games, but it's good that they were able to sort of continue to ease into it, and we'll see if there's any kind of growth or development with the offense and how it plays out, or even defense too, just how the team continues to gel together with. What a weird spring, summer, fall it's been.
Yeah, it's crazy. What just kind of your gut feeling? I know we haven't really seen a lot of practices to make a kind of judgment on, but how much does the offense change without Frank Harris if he's not able to go?
The interesting thing is, in talking to the coaches the last couple of weeks about how much Frank Harris runs the ball, it's they say, and you can see it when you watch him, that a lot of it isn't designed.
Right.
It's him making these things happen. So
Right.
in a lot of senses, maybe you're calling the same stuff, but you lack that improvisation element. So then it falls on Josh Adkins to just execute better, or, the whole offense to execute better. But maybe it takes away that sort of get out of jail free card. Like, there were times against Stephen F. Austin where it felt like the offense really wasn't working,
Right.
but Frank Harris was working.
Yeah,
He was
made it
able
work.
to just make something out of nothing and keep their head above water on a lot of these drives. So I think with Josh Adkins, maybe they have to be a little more crisp in terms of how they run things, but then it's a good thing that you have an offensive lineman back and you have Zachary Franklin back, and you're getting deeper into the season where you've had one more time to rep it. So it works out pretty well, I guess.
Kind of the walking wounded. Besides Frank, we didn't see a lot of injuries tonight, but saw guys with Cass and Traylor mentioned they were kind of beat up tonight.
Brady's out, and then we saw
Taylor.
Yeah, Adrian Taylor didn't play.
Yeah.
So those are the big ones, I think, at this point, which is not the end of the world. You just don't want to stack up too many more, obviously, because then you start to really test your depth. Like we already saw, like Jamal Sam probably would have been useful.
Yes.
And they have.
I think it would have been real useful
with some of the struggles we've seen in safety. So, you don't want to keep going farther and farther down the depth chart where then some of these things start to become issues. But for the time being, I think they're in a real okay spot. And, Day was supposed to be day to day, as Jeff Traylor said. So maybe he'll be back next week. You never know.
Yep. Do we hit on everything?
No penalties, huh? I think there was 3.
Yeah, that was
a nice clean penalty game.
Yeah.
We talked about Tariq Woolen's interception. They had another one from Danye.
Yeah.
So that was good to get some takeaways.
Day-Day's little brother, true freshman. They had a few turnovers.
I'm sure you want to talk about the punter, right?
Oh, yes. I mean, he was fantastic. But they didn't kind of capitalize on. The defense gave up a lot of yards, some big plays. And, I mean, he flipped the field a couple of times.
Yeah. I think that's the last thing that we didn't touch on. He didn't have a good game.
Yeah. He's had a good season.
And you also were interested in the third down conversions.
Yeah. That kind of evened out.
Yeah, they kept Middle Tennessee struggling early with that.
Yeah.
And then I guess probably not coincidentally that evened out and the offense got going in the second half.
Yeah, it's such a Jeff Traylor says he's not about time of possession, but I mean those 6 minutes and 42 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and UTSA went 3 and out in like 40 seconds. So they're still trying to find a balance of that tempo, going fast and not going too fast, I guess.
Yeah, and now you got to figure it out with the new quarterback. So we'll see what they settle on, but I think that they're. Again, we talked about like not having Jamal Sam, but generally I think they feel like they can rotate guys at every position, such that they're probably not afraid to try to push the tempo.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of teams, if you don't feel like you have guys you can turn to, like again in the opener they even rotated offensive linemen, like they're willing to rotate anybody. So in that sense, you're probably comfortable playing fast.
Jeff Traylor moves to 3-0 in his first year as UTSA head coach. That's the first time UTSA head coach has started 3-0, 2-0 actually.
Yeah, first time they've been 3-0 since 2017 as a team.
So a lot of questions moving forward on what happens with this team this next month with injuries and whatnot and tougher opponents. But 3-0 is 3-0 at the end of the day. You got to feel good about it.
It's like it's sort of pessimistic to look at it this way, but it's like once you start 3-0, you lose one game and okay, we're 3-1, and then you lose again and you're okay, we're 3-2, and then you're 3-3 and you got to get it back to even, and then even at 3-4 and 3-5, it's like, well, we're just 1 or 2 away from being like you've bought yourself a pretty big window of feeling okay about the season you've had, and I think that's the best you could hope for with a new staff on a weird year
in a COVID
for a team
year
that wasn't very good last year. So I think that they're in as good of a spot as they could want to be.
One win from the win total of last season, matching the one the season before. So that'll wrap it up. Another dramatic and thrilling win for your UTSA Roadrunners. I'm JJ Perez. It's Greg Luca. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.
Good job, guys.